Heartwarming moment. Millionaire CEO's autistic son on a blind date reveal an amazing connection. Jack felt his stomach twist in knots as he stood outside the bustling diner, its neon lights flickering like the uncertainty in his heart. With every tick of the clock, his anxiety grew. Would this blind date be the bridge to the world he desperately wanted to connect with, or would it be another reminder of how different he was? Wealth surrounded him, yet the connections he craved felt wrapped in a barrier of golden chains. His father, Stephen, a self-made millionaire, firmly believed that finding love would solve Jack's social struggles. But Jack wasn't just looking for a date, he was yearning for understanding, acceptance, and a genuine bond that transcended their wealth. The diner smelled of warm pancakes and brewed coffee, the very same smell that evoked memories of laughter and family dinners with his father. Fidgeting nervously, Jack stepped inside. That's when he spotted Emily. She was a waitress, her apron slightly rumpled, but her eyes sparkled with warmth as she brought a plate to the table. Their eyes met, and in that moment, something ignited between them, a flicker of understanding, a shared sense of being underestimated. They talked easily, laughter spilling out between them as if they had known each other forever. Jack felt the walls crumble. Here was someone who saw him for who he was, beyond the label of wealth or autism. Emily spoke lovingly of her dreams, her struggles to support her single mother. She understood hardships, and for the first time, Jack felt seen, not just the son of a CEO but as an individual craving real connection. However, the balance of the evening shifted when Stephen found out about Jack's budding interest in Emily. Enraged, he dismissed her as a mere waitress, too lowly for their family's polished image. Jack's heart sank. It was as if a storm cloud had suddenly darkened what had been a sunny day. "You deserve better, son," Stephen insisted, his voice thick with the weight of expectations. Jack felt a strain in his chest, a clash of loyalty and self-identity brewing within him. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Moments of heated silence followed, each man lost in a labyrinth of emotion. Just as tensions peaked, the town faced a crisis. A community event meant to unite Maplewood was threatened by unforeseen setbacks. Jack saw an opening, a chance to stand for Emily and what true connection meant beyond financial status. He rallied the townspeople, passionately defending her against the very societal norms that his father embodied. It set off a chain reaction in Maplewood. The crowd started murmuring, a wave of support for Emily swelling as Jack's authentic voice reached across barriers. Would his father see the truth clawing its way to the surface? As Jack fought for what mattered most, love, integrity, acceptance, could Stephen ever understand that the richest connections often grew in the most unexpected places? Jack's heart raced. In that moment, he wasn't just fighting for Emily but for a deeper bond with his father. The turning point had begun, but would it be enough to mend their fractured relationship? Jack's heart thundered in his chest as he stepped from the town hall, the echo of supportive cheers still ringing in his ears. He could hardly believe it. The townspeople had rallied behind him and Emily. For the first time, he felt a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, he could carve a space for himself in a world that often felt exclusive. It was a glorious spring evening in Maplewood, the sun setting with hues of orange and pink painting the sky, but Jack barely noticed. All he could think about was the confrontation looming with his father. As he made his way down the street, he could see Stephen pacing outside their upscale office, his silhouette stiff against the backdrop of the twilight. "Dad," Jack said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "We need to talk." Stephen turned, his eyes narrowing, disappointment lurking in the sharp lines of his face. "You didn't think this through, did you? You embarrassed yourself in front of the whole town." "No, I stood up for what matters. Emily is not just a waitress, she has dreams and aspirations. I don't want to live in your world anymore. Each word felt heavy with the weight of frustration and desperation. Do you think she can handle your lifestyle? The expectations? She can handle me better than you ever have. The words shot out before he could stop himself, each syllable lighter than the tension clinging to the air around them. Jack took a breath, trying to hold on to the hope stirred in that diner, where the laughter poured like syrup onto warm pancakes. His father clenched his jaw, frustration evident in his posture. You need to think rationally. Love isn't about feelings, it's about stability. You have a reputation to maintain. Jack shook his head fiercely. No. You think you can buy love with reputation and status. But I can't live like that. Emily, she sees me. The real me. The image of Emily's warm smile, her relatable struggles, flashed in his mind, fueling his conviction. Suddenly, there was a subtle shift in Stephen's demeanor. She doesn't know you. She only knows the version you show her. That's not true. For the first time, I can be myself. You don't get it, it's not about us. It's about me deciding who I want to be. Silence fell between them, thick and raw. Jack felt a pang of longing not just for his father's approval, but for the relationship that was slipping further away. A part of Stephen softened. Jack, I want what's best for you. I can't watch you get hurt. I appreciate that, Dad. But life isn't about avoiding pain. It's about living fully. If Emily is the person who helps me do that, then I want to let her go. The tension between them didn't dissipate completely, but Jack saw a flicker of something in Stephen's eyes, a glimpse of understanding, perhaps. As Jack turned to leave, he felt the weight of both hope and fear. Was he really ready to dive into a relationship with Emily, despite the storm brewing at home? Would he have the strength to weather Stephen's fury tomorrow, or the courage to stand his ground when it was tested again? He glanced back at the worried expression on his father's face, pondering whether this battle was only the first step of many to come. Jack took a deep breath and continued down the sidewalk. A new resolve filled him. He was going to fight for his happiness, no matter what it took. But was he prepared for the fallout? Would his father's anger push Jack further away from the love he sought? The path stretched ahead, and with it came uncertainty. It was time to face the evening and all it would unfold, both joys and challenges included. The evening air was crisp, a refreshing contrast to the storm swirling inside Jack's mind. Each step away from his father brought both relief and apprehension. He needed to clear his head. The street lamps flickered to life, casting golden pools of light that danced on the pavement, illuminating his path to Emily. Just the thought of her made his heart race. He could imagine her laughter ringing out, warm and infectious, cutting through the heaviness that seemed to cling to him. Jack quickened his pace, eager to reach the diner where they had shared so many moments. It was a haven filled with unpretentious love, comfort food, and the spirit of community that thrived in Maplewood. As he pushed through the glass door, the comforting scent of coffee and freshly baked bread enveloped him. The bustle of patrons and clanging dishes was a symphony of contentment, but his eyes searched for one familiar face. And there was Emily, busy at the counter, her eyes bright and full of life as she took an order. "Jack!" she exclaimed, her smile blooming like the spring flowers outside. The rush of happiness nearly knocked the breath from him. It was the smile that had drawn him to her in the first place, genuine, free from the judgment and expectations that crowded his life. "Hey," he replied, trying to match her enthusiasm, though a weight settled in his chest. "How's your shift going?" "Busy, but good. I'm just glad it's a Saturday. People are in a good mood." She leaned onto the counter, tilting her head in that way he found so charming. "How was the town hall?" Jack hesitated. He didn't want to overshadow her joy with the heaviness of his confrontation. Instead, he offered her a grin that didn't quite reach his eyes. "I think it went well. Got a lot of support." Her face brightened. That's amazing. I knew you could do it. I guess we'll see when the dust settles, he muttered, glancing around as if searching for distraction. The way Emily sparkled with pride made him temporarily forget about the impending storm with his father. Hey, how about we take a break after your shift? We can hang out by the lake. I can pack us some sandwiches, she suggested, her voice hopeful yet tentative. Sounds perfect, he said, relief washing over him. I could use some time away. Just us. As the shift wound down, they moved outside, jackets wrapped tightly against the evening chill. The sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving a velvet sky studded with stars that seemed to mirror the excitement bubbling in Jack's chest. Sitting by the lake, their laughter filled the air as they swapped stories and dreams. Jack told Emily about his childhood aspirations of becoming a writer, a thought he had buried beneath layers of expectation. Her inspired response made him feel lighter, as if he could breathe for the first time. But as their laughter faded into the night, Jack's thoughts drifted back to the confrontation with Stephen. How could he share this new side of himself with Emily when he was still scared of what his father would do next? Jack? Emily's voice broke through his thoughts, concern lining her features. Are you okay? You went quiet there. He took a breath, weighing his options. Should he share his fears? Would it burden her? But the bond they were forming felt real. It felt like safety. Yeah, just thinking, he finally replied, his gaze steady on hers. I want to be open with you, but I'm scared of what tomorrow might bring. She reached for his hand, the warmth of her palm grounding him. We'll face it together, okay? Just tell me what you're feeling. I'm here. In that moment, Jack felt the true power of connection. But could it last? If the confrontation with Stephen escalated, would Emily still be by his side? As the evening deepened, the shimmering lake mirrored his uncertainty, calm on the surface but restless below. Jack squeezed her hand, made a silent promise to himself to be brave. This was his life now, and he was ready to fight for it. But what would happen when Stephen found out about Emily? Would she still want to be with him when the reality of their worlds collided? The chill of the night wrapped around Jack like a shawl, heavy yet familiar. He could feel the tension in him, lingering like a storm ready to break. The stars twinkled above, oblivious to the worry spiraling in his mind. He took a deep breath, allowing the silence and stillness of the lake to wash over him. Emily fidgeted slightly, her fingers twirling a strand of hair. You've been so quiet, Jack. You know you can share anything with me, right? The softness in her voice made his heart ache. He wanted to lay his fears bare, to let her see the chaos beneath, but would it only scare her away? Instead, he said, I know it's just a lot to take in. You really mean that? You'll be here no matter what? Her eyes widened, earnest and bright. Of course. You matter to me, Jack. I mean it. She laughed lightly, wanting to lighten the mood, which made him smile. For a moment, he felt unburdened, but the tight knot in his stomach quickly returned, a reminder of the confrontation that loomed ahead. Good, he replied, his voice steady. I want to be honest with you, but why wait? Emily interjected gently, her expression turning serious. Whatever it is, I promise I can handle it. Jack shifted, the weight of her gaze pressing against him. He was about to spill it all, about Stephen's controlling nature and the way he had stifled every corner of Jack's life, but doubt gripped him again. You might not understand, try me, she insisted. You'd be surprised at what I can understand. He closed his eyes for a brief second, wrestling with his fear. She had been right about one thing, he had grown so much since meeting her. Perhaps it was time to take the leap. He sighed heavily. It's about my dad. He can be intense. Always has these expectations. Emily leaned closer, her hand still intertwined with his. Jack, it's okay. I get family pressure. It can be tough. Yeah, but it's more than that, he said, searching for the right words. If I choose to pursue my writing or even just be with you, it's going to blow up. The fear was evident in his voice. He's controlling, and I don't know if I can fight back. Emily's face softened. You don't have to face this alone. You have me in your corner. Whatever happens with your dad, we'll navigate it together. I hope so, Jack admitted, a mixture of appreciation and anxiety swirling within him. But what if he goes too far? What if I lose everything? That's a risk you have to consider, but you can't live tied down by fear, she replied, a fierce determination in her tone. You deserve happiness, Jack. Her words hung in the air between them, heavy with promise and possibility. They shared a moment of stillness, melding hope with fear, and in that silence, Jack dared to imagine a future where he could follow his heart without the shadow of his father looming over him. Just then, the distant sound of laughter broke through their bubble, reminding them of the world outside their little haven. The comfort of the warm diner just a short walk away attracted him back. Yet, Jack still felt that undercurrent of uncertainty. Do you really think I'm strong enough to do this? He asked, looking deep into her eyes. Emily smiled softly, her thumb brushing against his knuckles. Stronger than you know. Just be true to yourself. Those words rang in his mind as they both stood up to walk back. But as Jack prepared to face his father once more, a wave of doubt settled over him. Could he really embrace this new part of himself? With every step, the truth weighed heavier on his shoulders. Tomorrow would come with its own battles, and the fight was only beginning. What if Stephen had a plan of his own, one even more sinister than Jack could imagine? Jack's heart raced as he approached his family home the next evening, each step a hesitant reminder of the tension that awaited him. The familiar scent of pine trees surrounded him, but it felt different now, laden with the expectations of a man who had always been more of a storm than a tree. He could see the soft glow of lights flickering from the windows, illuminating spaces that had often felt suffocating. Taking a deep breath, Jack stepped inside. The air was thick, charged with unvoiced words as he caught sight of Stephen, his father, hunched over a stack of documents at the dining table. The sight of his presence almost made Jack hesitate, but a wave of determination surged through him. Emily's voice echoed in his mind, just be true to yourself. Dad, Jack called out, mustering all the courage he could find. Stephen looked up, his sharp gaze cutting through the dim light. Oh, you're home early. I didn't expect to see you until later, he replied, straightening in his chair. The glint in his eye was unsettling, as if he already had chess pieces on the board and Jack was merely a pawn. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about something important, Jack said, moving closer. In that moment, he felt the weight of every moment he had held back, every fear that had grown like a weed in the shadow of his father's demands. Sure, sit down, Stephen gestured, his voice smooth but imposing. You look tense. What's bothering you? Jack sat, taking time to formulate his thoughts. The walls around them seemed to tighten, as if they were witnesses to the impending confrontation. I want to pursue writing, he finally said, his voice high but steady. I've been working on some pieces, and I think it could be something important. The silence that followed was deafening. Stephen's expression shifted, going from mild interest to a stormy mix of disbelief and disdain. Writing? He echoed, his words heavy with incredulity. That's hardly a career choice, Jack. It's what I want, Dad. I know it's not what you envisioned for me, but it's my life, Jack pushed, desperation creeping in. I want to be happy, and I can't keep pretending I'm okay with doing what you want. Don't be naive, Stephen snapped, the anger boiling just underneath the surface. You can't throw your future away on a whim. You owe it to yourself and to this family to do something respectable. Jack's heart sank. Each word felt like a blow, each expectation another weight added to the burden. I want to be true to myself. I can't keep living to meet your standards. That's not living, it's just surviving. The room felt cold, the air near tangible with the intensity of their exchange. Jack could see Stephen's anger coiling, the familiar pattern of control beginning to unfold. "Jack, you're not thinking clearly. I have built everything around you and your future." Each breath Jack took became difficult, suffocated by the pressure of unmet expectations. But he held firm. "What about what I want? Being a writer scared me at first, but it makes me feel alive. It's my passion, and I deserve to go after it." A flicker of something crossed Stephen's face. Was it fear? A shadow of doubt? But it quickly morphed back into cold resolve. "Do you want to throw everything away? You think I'll support this foolishness?" Jack's resolve wavered, doubt creeping back in. Your choices come with consequences, Jack. Think carefully before you act recklessly." His father boomed, standing abruptly, knocking his chair back. The force of it echoed through the room, the anger coursing through Jack's veins morphed into a potent mix of defiance and fear. He wanted to stand his ground, but what if that meant losing Stephen completely? "Maybe I could still pursue writing while keeping up appearances," he murmured, uncertainty freezing his breath. Stephen's expression softened slightly, morphing into something more calculated. "That's what I thought," he countered, slowly regaining control of the moment. There was something sinister in his words, a hidden ultimatum. Jack could feel the stakes rising, the air shifting into something heavier. What was really at play here? Could Jack fight not only for his passion but for his very sense of self? As the shadows of doubt loomed larger, the stakes crystallized in a single haunting thought: would he sacrifice his dreams to appease his father, or could he find a way to reclaim his life? With the weight of his decision pressing down, Jack held his breath, ready to plunge into the depths of uncertainty. The confrontation was far from over, and the real battle was yet to begin. Jack stared at his father, the tension thick as molasses, and he could almost hear the clock ticking away the seconds of their standoff. Stephen shifted his weight, hands clasped tightly, as if bracing for impact. Jack's heart raced, not just from fear but from a flicker of hope. Could he turn this moment into something meaningful, or would it splinter into irreparable shards? "Dad," he said, voice steadying. "I know you want what's best for me. I really do. But keeping me confined to a life I don't want isn't love. It's suffocating." Each word felt like a weight lifted off his chest, but he was still terrified. What if he was wrong? Stephen's jaw clenched, but Jack noticed a brief moment of uncertainty crossing his father's face. For a second, there was a crack in the facade. Maybe, just maybe, Stephen was listening. "Writing is risky," Stephen said, "but so is ignoring everything that has been built for you." His brows furrowed, eyes fierce. "Your mother sacrificed so much for you to have this opportunity. Don't throw it away lightly." Jack's heart ached at the mention of his mother. She had indeed worked tirelessly to provide him with a life full of possibilities, but it was too easy for Stephen to use that sacrifice as an anchor to pull Jack down into his own expectations. "But I can't be happy living out someone else's dream. I need to create my own path." His father sighed, the sound a mix of frustration and resignation. "You don't understand the world like I do, Jack. You think passion is enough? The world rewards stability, not whimsy. You're chasing a fantasy." Frustration ignited in Jack, urging him forward. "Then help me find a way to make it stable. I'm not asking you to support a whim. I'm asking to pursue something meaningful to me. Can't we work together instead of fighting?" This time, the silence stretched longer between them. Stephen's gaze drifted to the window, the last rays of the sun darting away, leaving a sense of closing darkness behind. Jack saw his father's shoulders tense as the weight of choices pressed on him. Then, Stephen turned back, his voice barely above a whisper, "What's next? You plan on throwing yourself into a world that might just chew you up and spit you out?" "I'm willing to risk it," Jack shot back. "If it means I can be true to myself. I'll take my chances." "Think about it, Jack. You know this is risky. I care about your future, Stephen insisted, but there was a hint of something else there. Fear. Do you care about me? Jack asked boldly, his voice quaking with emotion. Stephen scanned Jack's face, searching for what Jack didn't know. Slowly, doubt melted into something softer, perhaps shame. I do care. But this path, he hesitated, it's full of uncertainties. Jack felt something shift inside him. Then let us face those uncertainties together. You might be surprised by what could happen if you let me try. They locked eyes, a moment of vulnerability sparking between them, each weighing the other's intentions. Jack felt the pulse of hope surging. What if this could be the start of understanding? But just as Jack thought they might reach some common ground, Stephen opened his mouth, voice sharp. If you pursue writing, you'll do it on your own. Without my help. Dad. Jack's heart sank again. The walls felt insurmountable once more. Make your choice, Stephen said, a commanding presence returning, but know there may be a cost. You'll be on your own. Confusion battled with certainty within Jack. He could feel the ground shifting beneath him, and as harsh as his father's words were, it was becoming clear that he might have to choose. He just wished he knew how to balance his dreams with the love he held for his family. With each passing second, Jack felt more like a trapped animal, clawing at the walls of his cage. What could he do? As he stood there uncertain, his heart racing against a tide of emotions, one question settled in his mind: what was the price of true freedom, and was he ready to pay it? Determined yet frightened, Jack inhaled deeply. The next move was his to make. But was he strong enough to make it? The air hung heavy, a thick tension wrapped around them in the dimly lit room. Jack could feel his breath quickening, his pulse racing in his ears like a deafening drum. He didn't know how long he could hold the fragile line between hope and despair. His father's ultimatum felt like a boulder on his chest, and he could sense the weight of expectations hanging over them both. Dad, you can't just leave it like this, Jack said, a quiver creeping into his voice. I need you to understand this isn't just about writing. It's about me being true to myself. Stephen leaned back, eyes narrowing, as if Jack was a puzzle he couldn't quite solve. And what if being true to yourself drives you to ruin? He shook his head, the frustration lining his face. This isn't just about you, Jack. You say you want stability, yet you're asking for chaos instead. Jack opened his mouth to respond, but the words caught in his throat. Chaos wasn't what he wanted freedom. Freedom to create his own life, navigate his own choices. I can't keep living in the shadow of your fears. You have to believe in me. Just this once. A long moment hung between them, filled with unspoken words. Jack noticed the tightening around Stephen's mouth, the way his fists curled. Jack saw a man who was terrified of failing, who didn't quite understand that the fear of falling could drive someone to try soaring high instead. They were two worlds colliding. Believe in you? Stephen spat, voice rising. What's your plan? Scribble words into the void and hope something sticks. This isn't an easy road, Jack. It's littered with rejection. I'm ready for it, Jack argued, his voice rising to meet his father's. I just want the chance to find out what I can do, what I'm capable of. You didn't raise me to back down from a fight. The challenge lingered in the air like a charged electric wire. Stephen's fingers drummed nervously against the table, his eyes flashing with a mix of frustration and confusion. He was searching for something, an anchor, perhaps to hold on to in this storm of emotions. Jack had grown up feeling that, despite the hurdles, he had something important to contribute to the world. Stephen sighed, his voice shifting to something softer, though still cautious. You really think you can make it in this unpredictable field? I don't just think it, I feel it, Jack insisted, throwing caution to the wind. If I fail, I'll learn. If I succeed, then what I create will be mine. Isn't that what you always wanted for me? To be happy? Silence fell, thick and suffocating. Stephen's face softened for just a fleeting moment, and Jack thought he might see a flicker of pride buried under layers of doubt. But then it vanished, replaced by the familiar creases of worry. Happiness doesn't come without sacrifice, Jack. I don't want you to look back one day and regret your choices. But, Dad, maybe I'll learn to fly instead of just looking down from the ground. Jack's heart raced as he spoke, filled with the hope of his words. I need you to believe in me even just a little. The rejection that loomed was unyielding, but Jack felt a spark of something. Was it anticipation? His father was struggling, clinging to an old blueprint of what success looked like. Try to see this through my eyes, Jack pressed gently. Your dreams for me, it's where I love you, but it's not where I see myself. As Stephen's chest rose and fell slowly, Jack could almost hear the gears turning in his father's mind. But then, uncertainty crept back in, stealing any glimmer of progress. Jack, suddenly, the door swung open, and in walked a figure who interrupted the moment. A voice called out, Hey, are we ready to order? Jack turned, tension breaking, but the thread of unresolved feelings hung heavy. He looked back at his father, hoping silently this wasn't the end of their conversation. Could that stranger's arrival be a distraction, or the opening they needed to continue? In that charged moment, Jack felt an undeniable truth: their struggle might just be beginning. And as he glanced between his father and the unexpected guest, he couldn't help but wonder if this new presence could either bridge their divide or widen it further. The newcomer stepped into the haze of their unresolved argument, a bright smile breaking through the tension like sunlight through clouds. Hey there. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Just here to grab a quick bite. He looked around, taking in the surroundings. This place is great, right? Jack's heart sank slightly at the cheerful intrusion. He hadn't meant to turn their exchange into a scene for an audience. Stephen took a breath, brushing the frustration off his face. No, not at all, we were just debating some things. He cast a glance at Jack, the challenge still unspoken in the air. The stranger's eyes darted between them, sensing the heaviness, but he continued with a friendly charm. Well, I'm Carter, nice to meet you both. So, what's the hot topic? Business? Love? The secret to life? Jack couldn't help but smile at Carter's energy, a lightness he desperately craved in the room. You could say it's about dreams and expectations, Jack said, his tone lightening, though he felt the weight return immediately afterward. Ah, that old classic. Carter laughed. Dreams can be tough, but they're worth chasing. Is it about a job or a passion? The sincerity in his voice seemed to ignite something in Jack that had dimmed during the argument. It's about writing, Jack admitted, his voice quieter now, but the words felt heavier. My father, he doesn't think it's practical. Stephen shifted uncomfortably, yet Carter's undeterred energy kept the moment from collapsing. Practical? What even is that, you know? Carter leaned forward, his enthusiasm contagious. I mean, who defines what's practical? Maybe writing is the most practical thing for you. Jack felt his pulse quicken again, not just from the adrenaline but from a sense that the path of dreams didn't have to be so solitary. He noticed how Stephen seemed to relax just a little, the corners of his mouth threatening to curve into a smile. Believe it or not, I once had dreams too, Carter continued, but my family thought I should go into finance or something boring like that. I fought for what I wanted, and guess what? I'm happier because of it. Jack caught his father's glimmer of interest. Could this stranger offer a perspective Stephen hadn't considered? The unorthodox connection made Jack think, could passion really translate into success? The moments piled up, each word from Carter peeling back layers of tension between Jack and Stephen. Sometimes it's the craziest paths that lead to the sweetest rewards, Carter said, locking eyes with Jack as he spoke, urging him on. You just need to take one step then another, let the world surprise you. Suddenly, the air shifted again. Jack could see Stephen's expression softening, the edges of his concern gradually rounding. Could this chance meeting become the catalyst for their relationship? A spark igniting old ideas buried deep within Stephen's heart? Maybe you need to trust him a little, Stephen, Carter said, leaning back in his chair as if he had just put together the pieces of a puzzle. All you can do is guide him, but he's got to find his own wings. Right, Jack? Carter looked back at Jack, brimming with confidence. Take that leap, man. Just promise me, if you fly, don't forget to come back to Earth every now and then. Your family will always want you close, no matter where your dreams take you. Jack's heart swelled, mixed emotions swirling within him. He knew the conversation with his father wasn't over, but perhaps it was finally on the brink of change. Would Stephen be able to take that leap too? Would he find the courage to let go, and redefine what success looked like for them both? In that moment, triumph felt within reach. Jack glanced from Carter to his father, a question on the tip of his tongue. So, Dad, what do you really think? Can dreams be practical? As Stephen opened his mouth, ready to respond, the door swung open again, and a familiar face peeked inside, an old friend from Jack's high school days. With a smile plastered wide across his face, he blurted out, Jack. I've got something important to tell you. The tension surged back in, and Jack could only wonder what this new arrival would bring to the already charged atmosphere. Would it shift the momentum of both his dreams and his relationship with his father once more? Jack froze as his old friend, Danny, stepped into the cafe, his energy unmistakable and infectious. A rush of memories rushed back, most of them filled with laughter and the carefree days of youth. Danny had been a constant in Jack's life, a reliable source of joy, but the path their lives had taken diverged sharply since graduation, Jack diving into his writing, while Danny scaled the corporate ladder. Danny! Jack burst out, his mood lifting instantly. What are you doing here? I was just in the neighborhood and thought I'd drop by for a coffee. This is so weird, right? He scanned the table, eyes landing on Stephen, whose brow furrowed in curiosity. This is my dad, Stephen, Jack introduced, a hint of nervousness in his voice as he braced for the inevitable questions about Jack's unconventional career choice. Nice to meet you, sir. Danny extended his hand, confidence radiating from him. I've heard so much about you from Jack. You're a legend in the business world, right? Stephen's expression softened, surprise flickering over his features. Well, that's one way to put it, he replied, his usual stoicism easing into mild amusement. Carter popped up from his chair, eager to involve himself. Jack's dad has a vision for how to succeed. It's all about following practical dreams. His eyes sparkled with a sense of camaraderie. The tension in the room eased as Danny leaned against the counter, his casual demeanor a welcoming presence. Speaking of dreams, Jack, I was just about to give you a call. I have an opportunity that could be a game changer for you. Jack tilted his head, a mixture of excitement and skepticism coursing through him. What kind of opportunity? Remember that online magazine I was telling you about? They're looking for contributors, and I thought of you right away. Your pieces on writing and creativity might just resonate with their audience, Danny explained, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. Jack's heart raced. The moment felt surreal, a lightning bolt of possibility igniting hope within him. But lingering doubts crept in. But do you think they want something different? I mean, will they see me as just someone's son? Stop it right there, buddy. Danny shot back, his tone light yet firm. You're not just someone's son, you're Jack. Your voice matters. Just because I've had a different path doesn't mean you can't create your own. Jack glanced at Stephen, searching for his father's support. What do you think, Dad? Stephen took a moment, pensiveness clouding his features. He seemed torn, his heart resting with the practicality he had always clung to. I think taking the chance sounds exciting, he replied finally, though the timbre of his voice hinted at his hesitation. It wasn't a full endorsement, but it was a flicker of the acceptance Jack had longed for. Carter leaned in enthusiastically. There you have it. Now the question is, are you ready to dive in head first? Jack inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of the moment. The buzz of coffee machines, chatter, and Danny's bright excitement swirled around him like a warm embrace. Could he take the leap? After months of uncertainty, the path seemed clearer, promising innovation, fear, and even joy, but just as he was about to respond, a ringing phone interrupted the cozy atmosphere. Danny fished out his phone, glancing at the screen. "It's my dad," he muttered, suddenly serious. Jack noticed how the color drained from his friend's face. I've got to take this." As Danny stepped outside for some privacy, a collective hold settled into the table, the anticipation of unspoken fears lingering in the air. Jack felt a distant dread, unsure what was on the other end of that call. Would this change everything again? "Is everything all right?" Stephen finally asked, shifting his attention back toward Jack, as if gauging his own worries about dreams and realities. Jack swallowed hard, feeling the weight of impending change. "I don't know," he murmured, uncertainty gnawing at his excitement. "But maybe, just maybe, this is what I needed to jumpstart everything." Suddenly, the door swung open, and Danny walked back in, a shadow of concern trailing behind him. His eyes were wide, heart racing. "Jack, we need to talk. It's about my dad." And with those words, Jack's pulse quickened. The day of opportunity might unravel faster than he thought, leaving him to grapple with a reality he didn't expect. Would dreams still matter if they were intertwined with another upheaval? Jack's heart raced as Danny's words hit him like a train. The air shifted, the conversations from moments before felt a galaxy away. "What do you mean?" Jack asked slowly, his voice barely a whisper. Danny ran a hand through his hair, his expression a mix of shock and worry. "It's his health. He's been rushed to the hospital." The words hung heavy, each syllable driving a wedge of fear deep into Jack's chest. A silence fell over the table. Stephen's demeanor shifted instantly, the stern man showing cracks of vulnerability. "What happened?" he asked, his sharp tone wrapped in concern. "I don't know. I just got a call. They said he collapsed at work." Danny closed his eyes for a moment, inhaling deeply as if the air itself could ease the tidal wave of emotions crashing over him. Jack glanced at his father. The man who had always been the fortress of strength now seemed vulnerable, shaken. Was it possible that all the stubbornness, all the expectations, were mere smoke and mirrors covering the fragility of life? "Danny, what can we do? Do you need us?" Danny shook his head, his eyes brimming with unshed tears. I'm going to the hospital. I just wanted to tell you first. I might need to step away for a bit." "I'm sorry, Jack. I know you were excited about the magazine," and now his voice faltered, overwhelmed by the weight of the situation. "It's okay." Jack's heart softened. Maybe this was the moment they all needed, a shift that could bridge gaps and create connections they had been struggling to form. "You focus on your dad. We'll figure out our stuff later, right, Dad?" Stephen's silence was profound, and he nodded, the hardness in him breaking away bit by bit. "Of course, family comes first." Jack felt a warmth in his chest. Was it hope? Encouragement? The world felt less like an unbreakable divide, and more like a shared space. As Danny gathered his things, Jack took a bold step forward. "Let me come with you, Danny. If there's anything I can do, really." "You'd come?" Danny looked at him in surprise, the tension crackling between them. "Absolutely. Let us go." With a quick goodbye to Stephen, Jack and Danny rushed out into the night. The air was thick with anticipation, fear, but also an undercurrent of something deeper, a connection, a sense of rushing toward what mattered most. As they arrived at the hospital, the fluorescent lights felt stark against the shadows of worry etched on their faces. Jack held Danny's hand tightly as they navigated hallways, the sterile smell of antiseptic filling the air. You're not alone in this, Jack reassured him softly. We'll face whatever comes next, together. The thought of together nourished Jack, illuminating the path ahead. With Danny by his side, he felt a newfound strength and assurance that, in dark moments, bonds evolved. Undeterred by the barriers of their pasts, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the waiting room, Stephen behind them, looking slightly less tense. The news arrived shortly after. Danny's dad was stable. A wave of relief washed over them. As they relished the moment, Danny turned to Jack, gratitude flooding his eyes. Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it more than you know. Stephen, usually engulfed in his own expectations, placed a supportive hand on Danny's shoulder. You'll pull through this with your family, he offered, an unexpected warmth in his voice. Jack's ears perked up. See, Dad? Family matters more than anything else. Dreams, success, it all fades in comparison. Stephen's brow furrowed, and in a twist of vulnerability, he admitted, you're absolutely right. With the jagged edges of tension softened, a possibility unfurled. Hope, connection, and love transcended the trials each faced individually. Maybe they weren't so stuck in their roles after all. Maybe they could reach across the divide. As they sat together, Jack felt a subtle shift in the atmosphere, like the storm clouds fading into a sunset. He squeezed Danny's hand in solidarity while his father shifted in his seat, the heaviness of life's unexpected turns not far behind them. Life's short, isn't it? Jack said, the words floating in the air like secret truths waiting to be spoken. We should make it count. I want to write, Dad. But I also want to build bridges, not walls. For the first time in a long time, Jack watched as his father slowly nodded. Maybe we can figure a way to support each other without succumbing to our fears. The shift felt monumental. It was like stepping into sunlight after a long, cold winter, a realization that they could move from this moment as allies rather than adversaries. The past weighed on them, its shadows still lurking, but now there was room for light, for understanding. The doors to the patient waiting area swung open, and Danny's face lit up. He's awake. As the three walked toward the room, Jack felt the warmth of possibility wrap around them like a reassuring hug. Together, they would walk towards uncertainty, yet hope flickered brightly in their hearts. Let us fight for what really matters, Jack uttered as they moved with purpose. And in that moment, he understood something monumental. Connection was the true wealth in life, not just in love, but in family, in friendship, in shared struggles. And as the metallic door swung wide, Jack helped step into that room, ready for the challenges ahead. Love was transformative, ready to be cultivated and nurtured. And he felt ready to embrace his truth, the power of writing, and all the moments left uncharted. With a heart full of hope, Jack took the first bold step into a future undefined, one he would carve out himself. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.